Good morning. Grab your coffee and let's get right into a number that's going to wake you up faster than any double shot espresso, 112%. That's the average spike in home insurance premiums for multifamily buildings that decided to go all in on EV infrastructure. It sounds like a success story for the green transition, right? Well, not so fast. Here's the deal. For years, we've been told that plugging in your car at home was the ultimate convenience, a luxury, a value add for your property. But as we move into 2026, the market is sending a very different, very expensive signal. We're seeing a sudden 18% discount on luxury condos that offer basement EV charging. Let that sink in for a second. The very feature you paid a premium for is now the reason your neighbor's unit is worth more than yours. I was scrolling through Zillow the other day and noticed something wild. Some listings in Chicago and New York now have insurance compatibility flags. If a building is flagged as high risk because of underground charging, the buyers aren't just walking away, they're running. We're witnessing the birth of a binary housing market. You're either EV safe or you're uninsurable. How did a green upgrade become a $1 million liability almost overnight? Let's break this down.
Okay, let's talk about the real problem, and it isn't politics, it's physics. Specifically, the physics of something called thermal runaway. You've probably heard the term, but here's the part you need to pay attention to. A standard internal combustion engine fire is a problem, but a nickel cobalt manganese, or NCM battery fire, that's a 2000 degrees Celsius furnace. At that temperature, we aren't just talking about a scorched parking spot.
We're talking about structural steel losing its integrity. The world's largest reinsurer, Munich Re, recently dropped a bombshell they're calling the Munich Re-Assessment. They've officially declared underground EV charging in non-retrofitted structures as an unquantifiable risk. Now, in the world of finance, unquantifiable is a polite way of saying we aren't writing the check. When the people who insure the insurers pull out, the whole deck of cards starts to wobble. Insurers are now rolling out thermal exclusion riders across 42 states. It's a matchstick in a cardboard box scenario. If one car goes, the $14 and $2 billion in recent liability claims proves that the building goes with it. The math simply stops working, and when the math stops working, the standard fire clause gets rewritten. Have you noticed your HOA or building management starting to ask pointed questions about your charger lately? I'm curious if this insurance compatibility talk is hitting your neighborhood yet. Drop a comment and let me know if your building is already making moves. Here's where it gets strange. To meet the new NFPA 855 fire codes, retrofitting a single parking stall with level 4 suppression now costs upwards of $12,500 for a 100-unit building. That's a $1 million assessment. Most HOAs don't have that kind of cash sitting in the reserve fund, so they're left with a brutal choice: ban the cars or lose the insurance. So here's where the story takes a turn. If the insurance giants are refusing to let you charge at home, who's waiting in the wings to profit? Follow the money? While residential charging infrastructure is drying up, there's been a 400% increase in venture capital flowing into what they're calling fortified charging hubs. We're seeing the rise of things like the Tesla SafeVault. These are off-site industrial-grade charging terminals built with specialized fire containment cells. It's fascinating, really. We spent a decade trying to move away from the gas station model of the 20th century, only to realize that 2000-degree physics is forcing us right back into it. The monopoly on safe energy is shifting from your private garage to these centralized high-fee industrial zones. Think about the $500 billion grid balancing market. By forcing EVs out of residential basements and into these safe vaults, companies like Tesla and IonBasementBan aren't just selling you kilowatts. They're controlling the flow of energy to the entire city. It's a massive centralized play. They're rebuilding the monopoly, one thermal gap at a time. It's a clever move, but it leaves the average homeowner caught in the crossfire. Now, this is the part I find wild. If you look at the liability curves, this isn't the first time we've seen this. Data analysts are pointing to a 92% correlation between the current NCM battery crisis and the asbestos crisis of the 1970s. Back then, asbestos was the miracle material that turned into a stranded asset nightmare. We're seeing the same pattern here. And honestly, this is where the experts' war gets really heated. On one side, you've got Kathy Wood at ARK Invest. She's calling this temporary friction and a buying opportunity. She thinks AI-driven battery management will solve this by 2028, but then you look at Warren Buffett over at Berkshire Hathaway, and he's got a very different take. His mantra is simple: if you can't price the risk, you don't write the check. Buffett's people are looking at the physics and saying that for now, NCM fires in enclosed residential spaces are effectively uninsurable at any affordable premium. When titans like Buffett and Wood are this far apart, where does that leave you? It leaves you holding a property that might be depreciating while you wait for the miracle technology to arrive. It's a high-stakes game of hot potato, and the potato is parked in your garage. Let's zoom out for a second. What does the future map actually look like? We're looking at a great uncoupling of real estate. Goldman Sachs has already started downgrading the urban residential sector because of this $1.2 trillion exposure to battery-stranded assets. If your building can't adapt, its value is on a timer. But there is a silver lining. We're seeing a massive shift toward LFP lithium iron phosphate chemistry. It's heavier, sure, and it doesn't have the same range as NCM, but it's significantly more stable. Insurers are already starting to offer 30% discounts for LFP-equipped vehicles. If you're looking at a used EV from the 2022-2024 era, be careful. Lenders are starting to refuse financing without a battery health and fire stability certificate. Here's my advice. Before you check the square footage or the kitchen finishes on your next investment, check the insurance compatibility. The future is undeniably electric, but the way we house that electricity is changing overnight. Your car shouldn't be the reason you lose the roof over your head. What's your read on this? Are we looking at a temporary glitch in the revolution, or is the dream of home charging effectively dead for city dwellers? I'd love to hear your take on where this is heading. I'm keeping my eye on the data. You keep your eye on your garage. I'll see you in the next one.